Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. This morning I'm going to be building a scaffold the height of this bucket so that I can easily put up this wooden ceiling. So what I have here is, well, this is about 80 pieces of tongue and groove car siding that needs to get up here. And how it's going to get up here, there's going to be one 10-foot and then a 5-foot piece on either side. Then the next row will be two 10-foot, and then it's just going to continue like that in order to have a staggered pattern. So to get these pieces up there, I really need to be able to walk the entire length of the row. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build 4 sawhorses that are exactly the same height as that bucket. And then I have 2 2x12s that I'm going to screw to it. And I'll just shift that a little bit for each row and work my way across the room. So last night I went out and got these 2x12x18. Let me get the price for you. They were $89.29 a piece. And I also got these 5 2x4x8, and those were $12.50 a piece. Altogether, this was $241. Luckily, we need 2x12s for the stairway in the house. So as soon as I'm done with these are going to be cut up and made into stringers for the stairway, so they have a use. The 2x4s, those are going to stay as sawhorse brackets, but I'll just take the legs off, and when the lumber prices come down, or when we saw our own lumber, I'll replace them with normal size legs. So while I'm over here, I am going to pick up a level so that I can get an angle for the bottom of these legs. And then I'm going to get some measurements across the street. Then if the rain holds off, we're going to get all the parts for the sawhorses cut and get those assembled. Then I'm going to drag these big old 2x12s over there and screw them down to the sawhorses. I almost forgot my little angle finder. You'll see what I'm going to do with this in just a second. So, what do we have here? We have about 14¼ inches for the height there. So if I go like this and come down 14¼ inches. All right, I have it marked right there. Now we'll take the level and okay, there's my line. Then we'll take the angle gauge and figure out what angle that is. Okay, we will call that about 18 degrees. So the legs end right about here. So that means 11¾ for the legs. Okay, so what I need here is 16 at 11¾ and 4 at 24. What I'm going to do, I picked out the very worst 2 boards because these pieces are all going to be chopped down to 1-foot lengths. It doesn't matter how bowed or twisted these boards are. They're not that bad, but they're not perfect. But the two worst boards are going to be used for the legs. And then the next worst board, and these are pretty good boards. I sorted them at Menards. The next best, or the next worst board is going to go for these tops. And then the two that are left over are just to have on hand, and they will be the straightest of the bunch in case I need something straight later. This stuff does not need to be real straight. So, before it starts raining again, let's get these cut and get these assembled. Okay, I got all my parts cut, and apparently the battery died somewhere in the middle of that, but towards the end of cutting, there was lightning and thunder, and it just started raining. I rushed everything in while I finished cutting, rushed everything in, and then it stopped. But we're going to have scattered rain all day, which is why I'm doing this stuff. So let me get these parts back to the other side, and then I'll have to gather up my tools and stuff to put the brackets on. Then I'll have to move these over there. These are really a bear. They're very heavy, and it's going to be hard to get them in there, but it is what it is. Let's get this stuff moved. Okay, I got my sawhorses done. Now I'm gonna run and get some lunch, and when I get back, I gotta clear all that stuff out, move that shelf, and then I'll get the sawhorses in position. Then I'll run and get them big old 2x12s, and what I'm gonna do is screw them right down to here, and I'm hoping that I can get maybe 3 or 4 of these up at a time, then just move the whole thing as a unit. I don't want anything to be bouncing around or anything like that. I want this to be as safe as possible. I want to be able to walk the entire length of this and adjust the boards and do what's needed to get them in there correctly without having to reposition a ladder or something like that. So even if I could only get one board done at a time, it would be great, but I'm thinking I can get 2 or 3, possibly even 4. All right, I'm gonna quick have lunch, and then we'll get this cleaned up and set this whole thing up. Okay, I'm back from lunch. I got things cleaned up a little bit and got these kind of in place. I'm hoping they're right about where they need to go, because like I said, these 2x12s are just incredibly heavy. So what I'm gonna do is get one of the 2x12s over here, measure out exactly where these go on it, put lines on it, do all that stuff, and then I'll bring the other one over here and just duplicate what I did on the first one. And there you have it, one low scaffold. I really did a terrible job of filming this, but that's because it's been raining on and off. I mean, it'll rain for a half hour and then stop raining for 2 or 3 minutes. And I'll run across the street, do something, run back. It's been kind of a hectic day, but she's done. So now I can get the boards in. I have access to the full length of the room. I can walk back and forth, tap the boards, get everything aligned, do all the nailing and stuff, which is going to be a big help. I am so glad I don't have to keep moving a step ladder or buckets or something. Buckets are just dangerous. I wouldn't even do that to start with. I have, when I was younger, I've actually taped buckets to my feet before, which is probably not the best way to go. So, like I said, when I'm done with this, I'm going to take these two 2x12s and cut them immediately. And they're going to be the stringers for the stairway in the house. And then these short sawhorses, I'll probably just leave them the way they are for now. But at some point, I will probably just take the legs off and put normal size legs on them. Good, good, good. So the next thing to do is to get a center line drawn. And that doesn't mean the exact center of the room. Either centered on this window or centered on these lights. I got to figure out which one's going to work. These boards are 10 feet long and the room is 19 feet, so I have 1 foot to play with. So I can go a little bit side to side, but I'm going to have to go fairly near the center with the center line. Once I have that, then I will mark the 5 foot mark, which isn't really going to be 5 feet because I'm going to trim both ends of these boards. So it's going to be roughly 5 feet. And then the 5 foot sections are just going to come a bit shy of the wall, and that's all going to get covered up with molding. Yeah, this is going to be so cool. Can't wait to get started. And I'm going to be doing a review of this Senko gun. I've had this Senko gun for, I believe, 35 years now, and I was just going to replace some parts up here. I'll get into that later, but the replacement parts costed more than a new gun. Really insane, but like I said, I'll get into that when I review this. So if you want to see that stuff, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.